Hello and welcome. This is Erin, your Fire Chick driver. In this video, we will be covering multiple stop rides. Let's get started. Just like any other call, a ride request will come across your screen. You go ahead and accept it. The difference is it will say multiple stops, but you may not even see that. So let's take a little closer look at what they're going to look like as they come across your screen. It's UberX, it's 1063. The star rating of the rider is 4.99. Okay, and then it shows you how many miles away it's going to be to pick this person up and the usual how long the trip is going to be. So the only indication that you've got is that down there at the bottom where it says multiple stops. Okay, but if you don't see that, that's okay. And I'll show you in a moment how you'll be able to tell that you're on a multiple stop ride after you pick up your rider. So now you've arrived at your pickup location and the 2-minute timer will start to count down, giving them 2 free minutes before they start to charge the rider extra money that can be paid to you for your wait time. When the rider gets in, you start the ride. So now you can see that you've started the ride, and on the bottom now it's going to say on the way to first stop. Now the first time I took a multiple ride, I didn't even realize it. I got to that first stop and was telling my passenger goodbye, and they said, no, hey, this is a multiple stop ride. And so then, of course, I looked at the bottom of the screen and I saw what comes next. And then there's a couple other indicators. As you look at this, you'll see that the pin location that you're going to is black with the square in it as opposed to red. The red pin is the end of your ride. So this black one means it's just a stop. And then you can see as well a gray like route continuation past that black pin. And that's the route that you will be taking to take your rider to their next stop or their final destination. So then, of course, you just continue on to that first stop point, okay, and you try to land on the pin as closely as you can so that it will recognize that you're there. And as you can see, now it's going to say go to next stop. As you can see on this screen, I'm not directly on the pin, and it's not always necessary. But sometimes the rider will put the pin, whether it's because they don't have the address right or the map itself doesn't know the address right. Sometimes they place the pin somewhere and it's not really all that close, like in the middle of an intersection. Okay, if that's the case and it's not recognizing that you're there and you notice the timer is not working, you can go back in later and dispute the fare that with Uber to say, hey, I should have got paid extra. I was waiting here for 10 minutes at this convenience store for this person. Okay, so that's just another route to go. Just keep in mind if something like that does happen, try to take some screenshots of like where you're parked, write down the time, the rider, all the information that you can think of, because when you go back to dispute those calls and try to get your fare adjusted, you're going to need as much information as you can get. Another option would be that if you arrived and you noticed the app was not recognizing that you were there, you could tell the rider, hey, I need you to fix, this is the wrong address. I need you to fix the pin placement. Because it could be that you're a mile away and obviously those need to be fixed. But if you're just really close and the address isn't quite right, that's another option. Just keep in mind, but by the time they get into the app, try to fix the address or put the pin in the new place when you're only off by 100 or 2 feet, then you're just wasting your time because you're not getting paid for that time while they're doing that either. So it might be better just to fix it later. So your rider has completed their stop. They get back in your car and you do just like the others to start a ride. You swipe from left to right, and then the navigation will start to your next stop or their final destination. Now that you're on the way to their final destination, another ride request may come in, but you won't get them while you're in between picking them up and taking them to a stop. It will only be after you're on your way to their final destination. So you can go ahead and accept that if you like or not. And you'll see at the bottom of your screen, it still says you're on your way to the last stop. Now, so you're aware, riders do have the capability of adding a stop, which will give you extra money. So if you're just on a regular ride, they can go in their app and add a stop. They may ask you, they may not. Either way, it should pop up on your screen that they have added a stop, modified the trip. It'll say something to that effect. Okay, and then, so say you were on this ride and you had already accepted another ride request. Once that passenger adds a stop, that next request that you accepted may disappear. You may get to the end of this ride you're currently on and now it's no longer there. And that is because they've been notified, one, that now it's going to take longer for you to get to them because now you're going on this extra stop somewhere. And then also Uber may just decide to route that ride to another driver because they know it's going to take you long, especially if that stop took you way out of the way of where you were normally going to end up. So just keep that in mind that that can happen. And so now you're coming to their last stop and the rider gets out. You go ahead and swipe complete the ride, rate your rider, and then if you did accept another ride request, that's going to pop up and it's going to start the navigation for that.
Okay, one other thing I wanted to touch base with you on is that sometimes you'll have riders and they'll just ask you to stop somewhere, and they're supposed to add the stop like in the app. They're supposed to either already have that on there, or if they're in the car already and you're driving down the road and they decide they want a cheeseburger somewhere, they're supposed to add the stop. Okay, and so you will have people ask you to do that, and some of them will say, "Oh, I'll tip you really good. You know, if you'll just stop here for me, I'll just be real quick." And then sometimes they're real quick, and sometimes they're not, and then sometimes they give you a tip, and sometimes they don't. So it's up to you. You can tell people, "No, I need you to add the stop. I can't do that unless you add it." Okay, because that's what they're supposed to do. Or if you're willing to trust them, or you just feel like being especially nice that day, and you'll go ahead and stop whether they give you a tip or not. That's up to you. But just be aware that there are people that will do that, and sometimes I actually feel like when they have a stop, sometimes I wonder if they don't put the address wrong or put the pin placement a little bit off, so that because they realize that you're going to be, getting extra money after 2 minutes. So just be aware. Alright, so that's all for this video on multiple stops. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you found it very helpful. I hope you did. And also take a look at the description. There'll be some links for some items that can be helpful to have in your vehicle to help you look more professional, help you get better star ratings and bigger tips. Thanks again. Bye-bye.